This happened 3 years ago when I moved into my first apartment alone. I was 25, had just gotten a new job, and the place was perfect, small, cheap, and close to work. It was in an older building, maybe from the 70s, with those long beige hallways that always smell faintly like old paint and detergent. When I moved in, the manager, an older man named Jerry, gave me my keys and said there were only 5 tenants on my floor. He pointed out my next-door neighbor, a quiet middle-aged guy named Richard. He smiled when he saw me carrying boxes and offered to help. He looked harmless, maybe 50, glasses, soft voice. The kind of man you don't notice twice. The first few weeks were normal. I'd pass him sometimes in the hallway, and he'd make small talk about the weather or my work schedule. Once he even brought me some leftover muffins, said he liked baking. I thought it was kind. One evening I came home from work around 8:30 and noticed my door was unlocked. I froze. I clearly remembered locking it that morning. I always did. I pushed it open slowly. Everything looked normal. Nothing stolen, nothing moved. I figured maybe I'd been distracted that morning. Still, it bugged me. A few days later, it happened again. This time, I was absolutely sure I'd locked it. I mentioned it to Jerry, the manager, and he shrugged, said the locks were old and I should just jiggle it harder. That didn't feel right, but I didn't push it. Then things started going missing. Small stuff. My lighter, a mug, a hair tie. I told myself I was being paranoid. Then one Saturday morning, I woke up to find the mug sitting on my counter again, filled with water. I hadn't put it there. That night, I set up a small webcam app on my laptop, facing the kitchen. I didn't expect anything, honestly. I just needed to prove to myself nothing was happening. The next day, when I checked the recording, it started normal. Then, around 1:27 a.m., the front door opened. Richard stepped in. He was wearing a bathrobe and slippers. He walked straight to the kitchen, filled a glass of water, drank half, and looked around like he was inspecting the place. Then he put the mug back, turned off my living room lamp, and left. The whole thing lasted about 3 minutes. My hands shook watching it. I didn't know whether to scream or cry. I went straight to Jerry's apartment downstairs and showed him the clip. He frowned, asked if maybe I had edited it. I said no. He sighed and said, "Richard's been here a long time. He's harmless." I called the police myself. They came, checked the locks, and confirmed there were no signs of forced entry. I showed them the video. One of the officers said, "If he has a key, it's technically trespassing, not breaking and entering. You can file a report." That phrase, "if he has a key," stayed in my head. I packed a small bag that night and stayed with a friend. The next morning, I came back with her just to grab my essentials. When we got there, the door was unlocked again. The couch cushions were slightly moved, and a note sat on my counter. It said, "You didn't lock up again." I moved out that same day. A week later, the police called me back. They had questioned Richard. He admitted he had a spare key, said Jerry gave it to him years ago in case of emergencies. Jerry denied it, of course, but neither of them got in trouble. The officer said since nothing was stolen, all they could do was warn him. I changed jobs, moved cities, and never heard from him again. But sometimes, even now, when I come home and put the key in the lock, I pause and check twice. Because the sound of the door clicking open still makes my stomach twist, like someone else could be standing inside, waiting, holding my mug. This happened about 5 years ago when I was still living at home with my parents. We lived in a small, quiet neighborhood just outside town, the kind of place where everyone knew everyone, and nothing bad ever really happened. At least, that's what I used to think. My bedroom window faced the street. There was one old lamppost directly across from it. It flickered sometimes, so the light would fade in and out, leaving long shadows that crept across the yard. I'd grown used to it since I was a kid. One summer night, around 2 a.m., I woke up for no reason. No sound, no dream, just that strange, wide-awake feeling. I turned over and saw the light flickering again, rhythmically this time. On off, on off. Then, in the middle of one of those dark intervals, I thought I saw something, a shape. When the light came back, there was a man standing under it. He wasn't moving, just standing perfectly still, looking straight toward my window. At first, I told myself it was someone out for a walk, maybe a neighbor. But the longer I looked, the less sense that made. He wasn't smoking, not checking his phone, not walking his dog, just standing there, like he'd been waiting for the light to go out again. I pulled the curtain closed, lay back down, and tried to ignore it. But curiosity got me. After a minute, I peeked again. He was still there. Same position, same direction. Something about his posture felt wrong, stiff, too upright, like someone posing for a photo. The light flickered again, and for a moment, his face disappeared in the dark. When it came back on, I swear he was closer. Not much, maybe a step forward. I shut the curtain and tried to convince myself I imagined it. Maybe my eyes were playing tricks. I turned on my bedside lamp, opened my phone, and tried to scroll through something mindless until I felt tired again. Then, from outside, I heard it, a low whistle. Not a tune, just one long, slow note. It came from the street. I froze. After a few seconds, it came again, softer this time. Like whoever was doing it didn't want to wake anyone, just get someone's attention. I turned off my lamp and looked out again, moving the curtain just enough to see. He was gone. The space under the streetlight was empty. My heart pounded so hard I could feel it in my ears. I scanned the street, the yards, the driveways, nothing. Then, as I leaned closer to the glass, I caught movement below. The shadow of a man. He was standing right under my window, looking up. I stumbled backward and hit my dresser. The sound must have startled him because I heard footsteps, fast ones, running down the street. I woke my parents. My dad ran outside with a flashlight, but whoever it was had vanished. We called the police, but there wasn't much they could do. They checked around the lamppost and found faint shoe prints in the dirt, too smudged to tell anything. For weeks after that, I couldn't sleep properly. I'd keep the curtains closed tight, but sometimes I'd wake up anyway, certain that someone was out there. A few months later, we moved across town. I thought that would fix it. But even now, whenever I see a streetlight flicker, I catch myself watching the space beneath it, half expecting him to still be standing there, waiting for me to look out. This happened last December, a few days before Christmas. I live alone in a small apartment building, one of those older ones with mailboxes in the front hallway and a shared delivery area downstairs. I've been here about 2 years, and until this, nothing strange had ever happened. It started when I got home from work one night and saw a package sitting by my door. I hadn't ordered anything. It didn't have my name on it either, just my apartment number written in black marker. No label, no sender. I assumed it was a mistake. I brought it inside just to get it out of the hallway. It was a small cardboard box, taped up neatly, surprisingly heavy for its size. For a while, I just stared at it on the kitchen counter. No return address, no company logo, nothing. Just that handwritten number, 3B. Curiosity got the better of me. I opened it. Inside was a small black box, like one you'd put jewelry in. Under it was a folded piece of paper that said, "Merry Christmas." No signature. I remember feeling cold suddenly, like the air shifted. I lifted the smaller box lid, and inside was a single key. An old one, brass, worn smooth, no tag. I didn't know what to think. Maybe a prank from someone in the building? Maybe it was meant for the previous tenant. I asked a few neighbors, but no one knew anything about it. The guy in 3A joked that I'd probably been selected for something. I laughed it off, but it stuck in my head. That night, I left the key on my counter and went to bed. Sometime around 2 in the morning, I woke up to a soft knocking sound. Not at my front door, from the wall behind my bed. 3 knocks. Then silence. I lay there, listening. After about 30 seconds, 3 more knocks. Slow and evenly spaced. The apartment next to mine, 3C, had been empty for months. The tenant moved out after a fire in their kitchen, and the unit was being renovated. No one should have been there. The knocking came again, this time a little louder. I got up, put my ear against the wall, and listened. Nothing. Just the faint hum of the heater. I told myself it could be pipes or wind. Anything else. I went back to bed. In the morning, when I walked into the kitchen, the key was gone. I searched everywhere. Counter, drawers, even the floor. Nothing. I tried to convince myself I misplaced it, even though I knew exactly where I'd left it. That night, I locked the door, double-checked the windows, and left the hallway light on. Around 3 a.m., I woke again, this time to the sound of my door handle turning slowly. Not rattling, just a slow, careful twist. I didn't move. I just stared at the ceiling and listened. After a few seconds, it stopped. Then, from the other side of the door, I heard something drop, a soft metallic clink. When I finally got the courage to check, no one was there. But on the floor, right in front of my door, was the key. I didn't sleep the rest of that night. The next day, I went downstairs to talk to the building manager, but he wasn't in. When I asked the maintenance guy if anyone had been working in 3C lately, he looked confused. He said the renovations were paused. No one had been in there for weeks. I decided to stay with a friend for a few days. When I came back, the package was sitting by my door again. Same handwriting, same size, same black box inside. But this time, when I opened it, the box was empty. I moved out at the start of January. I don't know who left those packages or how they got inside, but I still keep the note in a drawer. Merry Christmas. Every December since then, I get nervous when delivery season starts. Because somewhere in the back of my mind, I can still hear that sound. 3 slow knocks through the wall, right where my bed used to be.